another person who texted in yesterday because we were talking about the bicycles that go real fast on the greenway, and other people talking about the lack of bicycle lanes around Waterford as well. Well, Stephen McCarthy got in touch with me, StepsBackThruTime walking tours, talking about trying to do walking tours on the greenway and doesn't work at all. So I think he's on the line. Stephen, or Stefan as they would say. Good morning to you with Connestee.
Oh, Tommy, come on.
Codostit, are you an Onrine man, or are you from Kirkig, or whereabouts in the country are you?
No, I'm actually from a place called Deise Mountain. It's just above, if you're familiar with Bridgie Terry's the Pike.
Yes.
Yes, just literally about a mile up the road, right up at the foot of the hills of the Cumrall.
You know, I've heard of it, and I've actually never been there, but it's supposed to be a beautiful place.
It really is, because you look right into the harbour and you look across at Onrine, the Gaeltacht, all right, from there, and it is stunning. It is absolutely stunning. Yeah, that's the home place.
God's own country.
Absolutely. The best county in Ireland.
And tell me about your business and your walking tours.
Well, basically, it's something that I had in my mind for a couple of years because I've experience in working with Waterford treasures and doing the Bishop's Palace tours and the Medieval Museum and those. And then I worked in Kilkenny for a short while doing the ghost tours there as well as the cycle tours. So I always felt these are city-based tours. I said, well, what's the reason that this can't happen outside of a city? Because during lockdown, as we all know, 5-kilometre radius, we were all told to move to even 2 kilometres sometimes. But within those 5 kilometres, what you can see and what you can actually experience, you know, between wildlife as well as the heritage, it's all there in front of us. So I thought, well, I'm living in Kilmacthomas since 2018, and I'm familiar with it because I used to work here. I used to work in an architecture practice here in Kilmacthomas. And I just felt there's so much in this small village that can be worth telling because so many people pass through on the greenway and basically they know nothing about the village. So I felt you get the greatest food, you get the greatest cycleway in the world, really, and the beautiful, stunning views, but yet you don't know the stories. You don't know what is actually on the ground, you know?
Yeah, no, it sounds great. Yeah, you're selling it. You're selling it well. I'm thinking I'm going to buy a ticket now. You'll give us out the details in a minute. And how are things going for you?
They're slow to start because I'm only literally brand new since June. So this is my first couple of months. But we had a brilliant weekend last weekend. We had the Cumrall's Wild Festival here, and Éanna Nílauna, who I call the Kardashian of the wildlife people. She was here with us and she joined me on the tour, and oh my God, it was just the most fantastic tour ever. It was really, really good fun. And there's great camaraderie between the two of us because I'd be covering the heritage and the structures aspect where she covered everything on the wildlife. So it was just fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Super.
And the group that went with us as well, they all got giving rave reviews after it. So, you know, that's a brilliant kind of commendation for my own skill of putting this together, you know, because it's the 10 locations that we go to on the full tour. For Éanna, it was a short sample tour that we did, but yeah, no, it was fantastic, and of course the sun was beaming down, so the county couldn't have looked better.
Yeah. And the race, the Tour of the Waterford that takes place on the Greenway. I know there's a number of cyclists and different teams that take part, and they hit good time trials, and they're quite well marshalled. And no, I'm only kidding. What's it like?
Well, I'll tell you, I come from a cyclist myself. I have my own road bike here in the flats, and I go out on the Greenway very, very often. I go out in the evenings, I go out in the daytime, I go out during the early hours in the morning even. And I use it as a walker with the guided tours. And I'm just noticing an awful lot more racer cyclists. Well, I call them the Tour de France ones because I think they're on the Tour de France and they're coming through Kilmacthomas and such, but they're coming at such speed. And of course, like Eamon Barrett mentioned yesterday in the programme, he said that there was bells, you know, none of them believe this is a fashionable item to put on your bike. But I feel that the cycle clubs throughout Ireland should issue to their members that basically put bells on your bike, because you go to Holland, you go anywhere around Europe, they all have bells, no matter what form of a cyclist you are. Just to let someone know, or as Eamon said, just have a little sound, even a cough or a sneeze or anything, Maybe not a sneeze, maybe during COVID time. But,
no, a bell. And like it's not like that. It's not like these guys and girls are trying to do time trials, as they say in the Tour de France. It's not going to slow down their aerodynamics so much to have a little bell just on the side of the handlebars that you're able to flick it on.
No.
In fact, in a way, the way you say it there, Stefan, it should even be a legal requirement.
It is. I do feel it should be compulsory. Really, anybody selling bicycles even as well, there should be bells, or hiring out bikes should have a bell on it. And even the person given the bike then should actually show them how to use the bell, because some bells, the mechanics in it can be different. So I think it's something that they should even teach them how to ring a bell properly.
Now if they don't know how to ring a bell now, they may as well get off the bike and just throw it in the ditch. Now, come on.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. It's a bit of tongue in cheek, all right.
Yeah, I know.
But
well, not throw it in the ditch. You don't want to be.
Something that because what I've noticed recently is a lot of people are walking. Anyone on the greenway, we're supposed to keep into the left. It's written at all the rules at all the red gates. When you pass through all the red gates, it's written there in the sign. And everybody's starting to walk on the right, because they're so fed up of not seeing the bicycles coming towards them. But to a cyclist, then, you don't know that someone's on the right-hand side. So you come around the bend and suddenly you meet someone. And then you explain to them, you're supposed to keep into the left, but you get your head eaten off of you as such. It's just, they're doing it for their own safety, really. People are starting to swap to the other side of the greenway.
Yes.
So that's something else I've noticed as well.
As you say, you're not anti-bicycle. I'm not anti-bicycle. Eamon Barrett is and is not anti-bicycle. Like we're talking about, and a lot of the cyclists that are probably listening to this morning, it's not an anti-cycle thing. That debate is not there. It's what the greenway should be used for. And you texted us, and you're saying basically it's a leisurely cycle route, not a racetrack. Full stop.
Absolutely. It's a leisure way, because you have young children learning how to cycle on the greenway, and they can wobble on their little bicycles and come out over to the other side of the pathway as such as well, and that can happen out of the blue. But when there's a speeding cyclist coming through, it's just waiting for a collision to happen. It's something I often wonder. I wonder with the statistics, like is the amount of crashes that have happened on the greenway, not serious, touch wood, what is the statistics with what we call a Tour de France cyclist compared to the other cyclists as such? Is there anything to know whether there has been collisions or has there not been?
And the other thing, Stefan, is again, some cyclists will be listening to this morning, and they're actually on the greenway at certain times this week and maybe going fast. Like, why don't they just hear what you and me are saying and other people are saying? Or is it just a case that, what's the difference? When does a leisurely cycle become a sort of a faster cycle? Like, you can't have speed limits. That's another problem.
I think those red gates at each of those road junctions are there for a reason. You stop, you wait, you look left, you look right, you check the road. I've seen, in my own self now, I've seen the cyclists, the racer cyclists, let's say, going straight through those red gates without even looking left or right, just hoping that there's nothing coming. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's an accident waiting to happen in that sense. So they need to have a bit more alertness to the other users, because this is where my leave no trace training comes into place as such as well. You're supposed to be considerate to others when you're out in the countryside as such. And I think it's something that they don't take into mind as much. They're more headlocked on racing, and they're under a time limit as such to go and do it within a time. And it's not about that. It isn't about that. It's about everybody enjoying what we have on offer here in the county, and everybody should enjoy it.
100%. Stefan, the name of the tour company that you have, and how do people get in touch with you? Yeah,
it's basically called StepsBackThruTime. I'll spell it out to you there because it's spelled differently to the usual way in English. So steps is in STEPS.
Okay.
Back, BACK, and then the through is THRU, and time, TIME.
Okay.
.ie. And it's basically from that website they can book in. I have 4 tours daily. So you have one at 9 o'clock, one at 12 o'clock, one at 3 o'clock, one at 6 o'clock in the evening. And they're on a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. So if anyone's around the Greenway in Kilmacthomas, we work out of the workhouse car park, basically. They'll see my luminous yellow flags flying from my car. And I'll be in my high-vis yellow jacket with a blue baseball cap. So they can't miss me, really, Damien. I'll stand out a mile. Yeah, so
Super.
thanks so much.
Not at all. You're more than welcome, Stefan. God bless. Goramila Mahagut.